one of the solutions that you offer in the book, Dan, is a regret optimization framework. And I love that name. Explain what that is.
Well, okay. So this is my modest attempt to debunk Jeff Bezos, who came up with something, what he calls the regret minimization principle. So there's a reasonably well-known story where Bezos was working as a banker in New York, and he thinks about starting this internet company. It's 1994. I'm going to sell books over this thing called the internet. And his boss says, "You're crazy. You shouldn't do this. Take some time before you leave." And he takes a walk in Central Park, as the story goes. And he says, "Well, you know what? I know that when I'm 80, I'm not going to regret taking this chance." And so his view, and that became this thing, is like, what we should do is we should work hard to minimize all of our regrets. And there is some truth to that, but it needs a little bit of nuance. And it's this: we cannot minimize every regret. If you say, what car should I buy? I'm going to buy a car that minimizes my regret. What shirt should I wear today? I'm going to wear a shirt that you're going to go crazy. All right. And so there's some really interesting research that shows that people who try to maximize every decision are miserable. And that there's room for what's called, I mean, you know this, Roger, some of your listeners might too, but for those who don't, there's something called satisficing, which is just choosing a good enough option. And it turns out that people who satisfice are often pretty darn happy, and people who maximize often are not. And so my view is what we should do when we anticipate our regrets is that we shouldn't worry about our regrets in most realms of life, but we should maximize when it comes to these four things, that we should try to do everything we can to reduce our regrets about building a foundation, reduce our regrets about acting boldly, reduce our regrets about being moral, and reduce our regrets about connections. We should make sure that we go crazy in a sense of reducing regrets in those areas, and everything else, don't worry about it. Make a decision, move on, you'll be fine. And so instead of minimizing all of our regrets, what we should be doing is optimizing the ones that are most important.
Roger here. I hope you enjoyed this Brainfluence Brief. Please give it a like and be sure to subscribe to check my channel for full podcast videos and rogerdooley.com/podcast for audio, formatted text, plus links and other resources. Thanks for tuning in.